I tend to prefer not getting too caught up in outcomes, in final scores, particularly early in a season. And the reason for that is real hope arises from real performance. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. And I do mean good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers presented by FanDuel. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into hockey and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates that I hope you'll also check out. Steelers 23, Browns 9 yesterday at Acrisure Stadium. It was exactly the slugfest or slogfest AFC North style that I'd expected. The principal reason for that was that for as bad as the Browns are in the standings, they showed up here with what just might be the NFL's toughest defense, or one of them for sure. And what I'd wanted to see from this one was somehow, some way for the Steelers to continue staying on that same trajectory that they carried out of Ireland and into the bye week, because they were becoming a better football team in almost, not all, but almost all phases. What I wanted to see headlining everything else going into this one was the offensive line, of course, doing its collective job. Well, Spencer Anderson stayed out there for 17 snaps just like he had in Dublin, so they had some help, but not as much because Darnell Washington, beginning with the very first snap from scrimmage, was freed up far more often to go out for passes. So those training wheels came off and everybody still got it done. The Browns defense, which is most formidable up front, had 0 sacks, 0 takeaways, really 0 splash of any kind. And yeah, that applied to you-know-who as well. 2 assisted tackles for Myles Garrett and not a thing else. Were they doubling him? Sure they were. That's only common sense. But Broderick Jones and or Isaac Seumalo did what they were supposed to do. This is outstanding. Here's a minute I spent with Spence on this subject.
I thought it went good. Our plan was to, run the ball and then let the pass game open up by running the ball, make them respect the run. I thought it went really good. I'm not sure how much we finished with, like on the ground or in the air, but I thought it was a good day overall.
It was enough.
It was enough. Okay. Yeah, I hope so. But obviously it was good enough to get a win. That's all that matters.
So when I look at this offensive line, it just feels like there's just am I wrong, a gradual build-up?
No, yeah. The first couple of weeks you kind of have your woes, like, trying to still work the kinks out or whatever. But obviously, as expected, professional football, you're supposed to, be hot out the gate. But, in reality, that's not how it always is. And I feel like we're finding our stride, and we just got to keep it.
What else did they need to do? They needed to run the ball. That was the stated, as acknowledged by Mike Tomlin afterward, top priority entering this game was that the Steelers, one way or another, were going to have to run. Nothing else that they were going to try was going to make much of an impact over the long haul. They needed to be able to run. Well, they ran for 100 total yards as a team. Jaylen Warren getting 52 of those. Kenny Gainwell, another 22. Caleb Johnson with 15, including a real nice first down sprint for 9 yards. That opened up play action, as Aaron Rodgers would discuss after the game. He was able to go downfield, which was another big check mark. And not just a little bit downfield, and not just a little bit over the middle, but legit deep balls, winning deep balls, impact, point producing on occasion, deep balls. DK Metcalf, I thought, was the Steelers' best offensive player. He had 4 catches for 95 yards. Nice touchdown on top of that. Got some more tight ends involved. There was another check mark. It's almost like they were working off a list here. But everything offensively took a step up. But relative to the defense that they were facing, relative to the specific challenge, the specific ways that they were going to have to beat the Cleveland defense, in large part through attrition, through just out-toughing them, through wearing them down, through making them feel like they still hadn't had their bye week and they had just come back from London and they never get off the field because their offense is so bad. They did what they needed to do. That's progress. That's wonderful progress. That's what you want. Other side of the ball was a whole lot simpler. What the Steelers have needed all along, I believe, more than anything, was just to get everybody on the field, which they were able to pull off for, 2 whole quarters before a couple other guys started dropping. Nothing serious there, but Darius Slay, Joey Porter, Brandon Eccles took turns getting dinged up. Still nice to see everybody out there. Nice to see what it's supposed to have looked like from a personnel perspective. But way nicer than that was seeing that continuation from Ireland where you would see one defensive player get near the ball or near the ball carrier, and then there'd be another, and then there'd be another. This was always supposed to be a swarming, follow the ball kind of defense. While I understand that sounds not just cliched, but like more of a no-brainer, I loved the way Peyton Wilson described this for me afterward.
Yeah, I think you just see the fluidity of our defense now. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of like when we're in man, there's people adding, everything's flowing right. When we're, I don't know, it's just flowing really good. I mean, the way the calls are coming in, the sequences that we're playing, it's almost very complimentary in a sense. Like obviously, you always see the D-line eating or the linebackers getting sacks, but what these guys are doing on the back end with Coach GA and whatnot, and Coach Midge, it's been amazing. I mean, the looks that they're giving these guys, the fluidity of our defense.
So, yeah, they end up with, I'm laughing because I'm looking at the numbers and still can't believe them, 6 sacks, 16 quarterback hits, and 8 official passes defensed, which I have to tell you here, to be as fair as I can, really should have resulted in more than 0 interceptions, like as many as 5 by my count. To boot, they were a lot less predictable. They were doing... Can I use the word exotic? Yeah, or did that get trademarked by Brian Flores? They were using exotic blitzes, zone blitzes. Jalen Ramsey wound up with 2 sacks, one of those on exactly such a blitz. And you know, they got better. They got better. There's a chance that their record will get even better come Thursday night in Cincinnati. That would make them 5-1, and it would leave the rest of the AFC North in what's now feeling like perpetual purgatory. No other team in the division has won a game in more than 3 weeks. But that's fine. That's fine. Leave that where it is. That's my friendly advice here. Focus on this stuff. This is what matters. This is what keeps pushing you higher and higher and renders all the day-to-day to being mostly irrelevant. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so you can join in on all the action. Today's J1Q isn't really a question, but Ryan James sent it this way and says, DK, that was a great game in so many facets. I can't believe the offensive line protected Aaron Rodgers the way they did and put up 23 points against a top-tier defense. Ryan, I'd love to tell you that what you sent was representative of the general response to this game. I don't know that it was. I think a lot of people just found things to be upset about, maybe out of force of habit, and that's fine. They're entitled to that. I also strongly respect, and I gotta kind of watch what I'm saying here, that there are a good number of fans who don't do really much of any kind of research in advance of a game, even casually so, and would just look at the standings and say, there's the Browns. They're in last place. Of course they are, because they're the Browns, and they must stink, and would never check to see how good this defense was. I can tell you from the conversations that I had in the locker room that this was seen, and appropriately so, by these players as a very good W. Not because it's in the division, certainly not because they used to be rivals 100 years ago or whatever, but way more because the offense got this done. I'm not taking anything away from the defense when I said that. I just read you all of their statistics, or at least all their relevant ones, in the opening segment. They did what they were supposed to do. The offense went above and beyond. The offense was tasked with doing something it hadn't done to date. Putting up a bunch of touchdowns against the other Jets, as we've seen since then, since, they haven't won, was nothing compared to putting up 2 against this group, was nothing compared to getting Chris Boswell down the field enough times to kick the ball through. I was about to say 3 times, which is what he did. It should have been a 4th if not for the field. We'll talk about that some other day. The offense put up 335 total yards, an average of 5.8 yards per play. They had 19 first downs. They never turned the ball over, not through the air, not on the ground. They were tackled for a loss 5 times, but 2 of those were kneel downs, and they were for only 6 total yards. The offense held the ball. The offense ensured a 3-minute edge in time of possession. The offense kept the defense fresher. Take the W, enjoy the W, but by all means, understand, recognize, and respect what was behind the W. Jason sent this way, nice game, great progress in all facets, including coaching and play calling, which was part of what made this fun to watch. Hey, listen, guys, we can't have this both ways. When the Steelers lose, all we do, and I'm guilty of this myself, is pile on to the coaches first and then think about the players afterward. Now, I understand the Browns have things that are hamstringing them. I understand that they're playing with a rookie quarterback, a rookie running back. I get all that. I can empathize to an extent with Kevin Stefanski and his staff. But I'd like to think I also know what good coaching looks like. And this is now 2 weeks in a row where you've seen, I think, a higher quality of decision-making all around, including, and this starts at the top, and you could argue it kind of ends at the top as well, in Tomlin being open to other ideas and making changes that candidly have surprised me more than any other component of these past 2 weeks. But give it up also for Arthur Smith. Give it up for Terrell Austin. Repeating for effect. Can't have this both ways. Neil English says, I can't believe how physical, he puts it in all caps, this game was. Both sides thumping. So for my guys to come out on top, oh, heck yeah. But Neil, that had to be part of this. They knew they had to be every bit as snarly as they were, and that's on both sides of the ball. Victor Valdez gets our last word in for the day, and it's a fitting one, because if we're talking about being fair on this program over the long haul, you're not going to top what Victor has to say. I was very proud of the offensive line. Yeah, they were pretty good. They can all get better, and they can do it as soon as Thursday night. I appreciate hearing from everybody. I appreciate everyone who listens to the Daily Shot of Steelers podcast every morning. Don't forget, we have a double shot coming your way at 4 p.m. Eastern today. Would love to have you on board.